Yeah, I got a little sick. I guess, the drinking, smoking got the best of me. So I think I'm gonna officially really take it down, slow it down. I'm in my bedroom, covered up. There is, the steam is very, very hot, hot. So, then the steam to go, psss. So I hope you can hear me. And I hope the video doesn't shut off because I got a new, I guess data. So we're gonna jump right in, and we're gonna talk about incompatibility of signs dealing with Pisces and Gemini. Understand that it's 144 combinations. Right? 12 signs of the zodiac. Plus I gotta meet each sign with the other 12. So really you're talking about 338 combinations, because then I gotta do part 1 and 2. So you're looking at 144 combinations of part 1 of 25-minute video, and then 144 combinations of part 2. That's a lot of video. That's a lot of time. And my license contract with YouTube is only for I believe it's 6 or 7 months. So I have a lot of work to cover. So I mentioned in part 1, and I made a correlation with nature, right? Right? Sorry, I didn't want to give you no extra, but look at this hot and cold, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, you have I mentioned the Mother Nature's combination of part 1, Gemini and Pisces. Dealing with Mother Nature and different hurricanes and cyclones and what have you. Okay. Now, and I focus a lot on the male Gemini and the Pisces woman. So now we're going to reverse it, and we're going to go into Pisces man and a Gemini woman, and what dynamic that is about. Okay, and I tell you, it's like doing an entirely different combination of signs, because it is really that radically different. And in this instance, there is nothing at the moment that I can ascribe to nature. Right? Concerning this combination, which is a gender combination. Come on now. It's a gender combination. So I think the best thing to do in that situation is to just jump right in and go into the different characteristics. We have to do like a seesaw combination. Psychologically, emotionally, and spiritually, these are two very opposing signs, and they very well fall within the category of incompatibility of signs. What makes this a rare combination, I have to admit, and I don't think I've ever met anyone with this combination before. So it is kind of like a little bit interesting and intriguing, right? So let's go right in. If you are a Pisces man, no, let me start with the Gemini woman. The Gemini woman, you have to understand that she is very lightweight. She's very lightweight and very, she thinks very fast. She's a fast thinker. She can move through many, she can go to many different scenarios of life in a day. You know what I mean? In a day. She can go through so much in a day. And by the time it's time for her to go to sleep, oh my God, she gets up and does it all over again. There is no end to this woman's energy. But you have to understand that with the Gemini woman, the energy is all in the mind. She can go through so many different scenarios and so many different experiences in a single day that it will actually overwhelm anybody. Her needs are many. It's not like she discusses everything in her mind. It's not like she even has the time to pause, to even look back, reflect, and move forward. Okay, she's the type of woman that is a forward mover in her mind and a forward thinker. She always, excuse me, she always in she always has an itinerary going on. She'll get up. This is a Florida water. In the Latin culture, we use this to kind of like voodoo juice. But it's also good because it also refreshes you. Because I had a fever, for 2 days in a row. Finally broke the bitch, you know. And you got to keep it moving. So understand that the Gemini woman lives life, and she's plugged in at the immediacy of the moment. And that's important. It's important to understand what that means. It means that she don't got time to babysit nobody, not even her own children. She don't got time to coax the ego of any man. She don't got time to commiserate with you, mourn with you, or even show emphatic exchange. She's not very tolerant about a lot of things. And one of those things is bullshit. She don't like bullshit. She has no tolerance for it. But don't get me wrong, don't get it twisted. She herself can be scandalous. She herself can play a double standard. She herself can say one thing, be totally convicted, and probably at the immediacy of the moment mean it, but then turn around and flip it and change her mind and do something else. Because again, you're dealing with the Jekyll and Hyde psychology of Gemini, and it functions differently from a Gemini woman to a Gemini man. So how would this work in the context of a relationship with a Pisces man? Well, it usually doesn't, for the reasons that could be both of them at fault. Both of them have separate value systems. Both of them live in their own world. Hers is a world of the mind, Mr. Pisces, as well as Mrs. Pisces, is the world of emotion and fantasy. But the Pisces man tends to be a little bit more reckless when it comes to that. And I don't like to talk negatively of any sign, but I have to. I'm an astrologer, and I have to discuss the good and the bad. The good and the bad. Because then what the hell is the purpose of doing these videos if I just say the good things? It's easy to talk about the good things. In fact, when we present each other, when we are first entering a relationship, what traits are put forward? The bad traits or the good traits? We always want to put the best foot forward when we are first meeting and developing the honeymoon part of the relationship. No one ever puts their bad foot forward or show their shadow side. So then in many ways you're entering a relationship not understanding the full three-dimensionality of the person that you're dealing with or that you're about to deal with and get involved in. So then what does that mean? That you're going to find out about the shadow of the person. Each of you will find out about each other's shadow gradually and eventually. But wouldn't it be nice if you knew ahead of time? That way you're not played games upon. That way you know a predator or a narcissist or a sociopath when you see it. So it's important to discuss the negative and the positive traits. Now let me tell you, Pisces, both the man and the woman, we could not have 12 signs of the zodiac without Pisces. Pisces is so important, I cannot begin to even tell you. But we're talking on an esoteric level, a higher level that transcends ego and personality for any of the signs, but more so with Pisces. Because Pisces is so spiritual and is dissolution of matter. It's dissolution of reality as we know it. It's living in another plane, in another level of existence. The Pisces imagination is as mysterious as the depths of the ocean, which rules Pisces. And it is this depth of mystery, even within the Pisces person, that they can even get lost in that type of reality. And believe me when I tell you, it is a reality when it comes to Mr. Pisces or Mrs. Pisces. And they can do very well living by themselves, living alone, or leading reckless lives. Now, again, like I mentioned, there are 4 types of Mr. Pisces. There's 4 types of him. And all 4 types can be just as beautiful. Now, we're talking about the Pisces men. The Pisces men, well, they're beautiful. Like any other man or any other woman, right? They're great in the bedroom. In fact, they used to call Pisces, because when I read a lot of your comments on the description, they say that they're the ultimate fuck boys. Now, in the gay circuit, you hear that. Not in the straight circuit. No. You gotta know who and what you're dealing with. If you're dealing with a heterosexual male, no, he ain't gonna be no fuck boy. Okay? But he is going to be shrewd. Pisces men are shrewd. They may seem irresponsible. They may seem reckless, thoughtless, and not give a shit about how their actions causes consequences that can hurt somebody else. They can be thoughtless, and they are known to, infidelity is not something exclusive to Pisces. All signs are capable of infidelity, but boy, with Mr. Pisces, he takes the cake. Thank you so much. I didn't mean to be born like this. I just have a high libido, and I need more than one woman to satisfy. Thank you. Really, he deserves an award. An award. He will be spreading his seed all over the place. Again, not to single out Mr. Pisces and pick on him, because I'm a Virgo with a strong 12th house, which is all Pisces. So I see the same behavior in myself, and I've done it myself. I ain't gonna lie. So, and they enjoy living multiple lives. Some of them constructive and productive, others the life of a drifter or a vagabond. And it's not that they are lazy, and it's not that they are stupid or incompetent. Oh, trust me, Pisces is among the smartest, most mystical, most powerful siren of God of all the 12 signs. He's very altruistic, but again, he's shrewd. He's shrewd in business. He's shrewd in the way he deals with people. But then again, it depends on the type that you have. You got to look at the Pisces man video, and you'll get a feel. Because I'm not going to go through it here, because I already went through it with the individual signs, because I don't want it to eat up the minutes. Okay? So, what is it like to be with a Pisces man and a Gemini woman? Well, number one, who would not be attracted to the Gemini woman? Who would not? Look at Angelina Jolie. Oh my God, that woman is heavenly beautiful. And like her, there are so many others. Complicated women with obvious needs, but multiple, and also very hidden. The Pisces man is not that much different. The Pisces man will immediately fall for Miss Gemini. And he will try everything to gain her confidence or for her to date him. And there will be an electrical energy. And to the point where Miss Gemini might actually be scared of Mr. Pisces for a minute. Only for a minute. Because then when she discovers the inconsistency of Mr. Pisces, when she discovers the lack of consideration for Mr. Pisces, it changes the dynamics of the relationship. It does. It does. The Pisces man is secretive. He's emotional. And he's emotionally demonstrative. Loving and affectionate and endearing. The Gemini woman, not so much. I mean, yes, she is loving, caring, endearing, and all of that, but not to the degree that of Mr. Pisces. She, with her, is very simple. She's the type of woman that is bang. What is it? Bang, bang, thank you, man. A quickie. There are women that love having quick sex and they keep it going. And there are women that like to have long, drawn-out sex for hours, like Miss Taurus, who has an insatiable, sensual appetite for the male body. Or Mrs. Scorpio. Well, Miss Gemini, not so much. With her, a good 25-minute boop boop, and she's good. And that can present a problem for Mr. Pisces, who's extremely sexual, who wants it all the time. But at the same time, if he were to get it all the time from Miss Gemini, do you really think that he's going to be emotionally satisfied or fulfilled? Because the Gemini woman is not going to invest that type of emotional degree, especially in the areas of sex, if it's going to take away from everything else in her itinerary. She has to have sex in between while she in her course of fulfilling her daily itinerary. Mr. Pisces is more romantic. He wants the drawn-out dinners. He wants the candlelight, clandestine. He wants every experience sexually to be magical, mystical, almost transcendental. I mean, who doesn't want that? The problem becomes when you cannot hold your end of the bargain. Can't hold your end of the bargain as far as dealing with the daily responsibilities of living. And this is where we run into a problem with Mr. Pisces and Miss Gemini. Let me tell you something. Another issue is that Miss Gemini is not a domestic type. Neither is Mr. Pisces. But he requires that the woman be very domestic and follow the traditional role. Well, that's not going to happen with a Gemini woman. A Gemini woman, unless other configurations in the birth chart suggest otherwise, she's going to not really like to wash dishes and clean. You know what I'm saying? She ain't going to want to do that. She don't like doing that. The Aquarian woman, especially when they're young, below 30, no, they don't like to do dishes, wash dishes, and get involved in domestic and stuff. They don't like it. And there's nothing you can do to make them do it. So in a domesticated situation, how would that work? Pisces could become careless in the relationship once he feels comfortable, becomes familiar. The Pisces man, one thing which is very good about him is that he will not hide his feelings and his emotions. You know? While the Gemini woman will. She will deny them from within herself. And that can cause, and because Mr. Pisces is so discerning, he'll pick that up. Now, he can be a source of great healing for a troubled Gemini woman. But dealing on average, for the most part, to be with a Pisces man and a Pisces with a Gemini woman will require a lot of adjustments, a lot of give and take. Communication is Miss Gemini's stronghold. The thing is that Miss Gemini is only going to talk about what she wants to talk about and what suits her, hiding the rest. I mean, I guess all of us do this from time to time. Mr. Pisces will be confused. He won't be able to have full access to this woman, at least emotionally, because that is one area that she safeguards. And as long as she does that, no true relationship with a Gemini woman and a Pisces man can really go into fruition. So the relationship can go wrong in two ways. She don't communicate or he don't communicate. Pisces is vindictive. So is Miss Gemini. So if they fight, it's another war of the roses. And I've mentioned that before with several compatibilities. Not all of them. This is one of them. Because they're conflicting values. And one of those conflicting values is that the Gemini woman is going to want to be intellectually stimulated. And the Pisces man can do it in many ways, but emotionally, never intellectually. And that scares her. Mr. Pisces will be the type of man that can make her eyes roll on top of her head, over her head. Her eyes roll over her head, in ecstasy. But that can frighten the Gemini woman. That type of emotional release and abandonment frightens her. Because Mr. Pisces, of all 12 signs of zodiac, with the exception of Scorpio and Taurus, will take her there as far as ecstasy. And it's something that she might not want to do, she might not want to experience. It takes time and trust for her to surrender herself that way to a man. But for a Pisces man, this is, please, look, bitch, if you don't give it to me, I'll get another bitch. That's all. He could care less. But if the Gemini woman is able to stimulate the mind of the Pisces man, get him out of the lower nature of the Pisces ego, and bring it to a higher purpose, intellectually, she could be doing a lot of healing mentally for this man. Because the Pisces man usually has a background that comes from dysfunction, and turbulence, and trouble. Yeah. And the Pisces man on occasion may need a cool, objective interpretation of life the way he has been living it. Because Mr. Pisces ain't gonna stop to look, assess, or review how he has been living his life. And that's what makes him a little bit dangerous. Because then you're going through life not accounting for how you affect other people. The Gemini woman can, at this instance, heal the Pisces man mentality by raising his consciousness to a higher level. So you have to ask yourself in this situation, who's the boss? Who's the boss? In this case, it will be Miss Gemini. Who's the boss? If it's the other way around, Mr. Gemini. So then, in the context of that, if there's ever a disagreement or a fallout between these two couples, one will have to safely assess that it was probably the fault of Miss Gemini for being too flighty and unavailable, or Mr. Pisces who won't transcend his lower nature of sensuality and desire and pick up and wash a dish or pay a bill for once, because especially if it's below 30, that's not the case. If it's above 30, it just takes a different form. The recklessness and irresponsibility takes a different form when you're past 30. Not that much from when you're below 30, which is why in order for a relationship between Gemini and Pisces, the Pisces man, Gemini woman to work, these are the people that have to really get to know each other. They have to get to know each other. If they don't know each other and they jump right into a relationship without knowing each other's shortcomings and shadows, which is usually the norm when you're entering a relationship for the first time, then you run the risk of hitting this collision wall. And then by the time that happens, you're already into the relationship. So now you have to see it through. Like the movie The Perfect Storm, where those people were in that ocean and no one could save them once you're in that storm. You have to find a way to get out of it. And that's the relationship. It's stormy, but it's sexy and it's steamy. But it's quite a combination Okay, thank you. This concludes this segment with Gemini and Pisces.